Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm an educator and I use Adobe Express to help me prepare and deliver my lessons. I've been on both sides of the learning aisle, first as a student up to MBA level, and then more recently as a lecturer. We live in a world driven by data, from the numbers that guide financial markets, the statistics that shape public policy, to the nutrient levels in our food. Data tells a story. But numbers alone aren't enough. To truly connect with an audience, we need to transform data into compelling visual narratives. That's where data storytelling comes in. Today, we'll explore how you can use Adobe Express to bring data to life. In this session, we'll take a real-world topic, South Africa's population growth, and show how to turn dry statistics into an engaging visual story. We'll touch on some of the core principles of data storytelling, exploring how Adobe Express makes design accessible, and we will highlight key features that will help you present your findings with impact. Let's start with the open source 2022 census data provided by StatsSA. Since 2011, South Africa's population has grown from approximately 52 million people to over 62 million in the 2022 census. That's an increase of almost 20% in a little over 10 years. Okay, so we've got our baseline information. Before we get too far, let's talk about two important concepts: exploratory versus explanatory visualizations in data storytelling. Understanding the difference between these two concepts and knowing when to use them can make your data-driven message clearer, more compelling, and ultimately more effective. Think of exploratory data as the big story in data storytelling, and explanatory data as the small. Let's talk about exploratory visualizations. These help you uncover the story in the data. Exploratory visualizations are used in the early stages of data analysis. The goal here is not to present polished insights, but to discover patterns and trends, and to position the big picture. Some common formats for exploratory visualizations include scatter plots, histograms, box plots, heat maps, and line charts tracking raw data. Each of these data formats can carry a highly visual message, but to tell a data story, you must find a way to knit many pieces of information together. For example, as we're analyzing South Africa's population growth, in the exploratory phase, you might analyze a bar chart of annual population growth over time to detect trends. Now let's talk about explanatory visualizations, communicating the story. Once key insights have been identified, the focus shifts to explanatory. These are designed to communicate specific findings to an audience, guiding them through the so what of the data. The goal is to distill complex data into clear, digestible information that reinforces the narrative. Back to the data. We know South Africa's population, but where does everyone live? Well, 24% live in Gauteng, 20% in KZN, and 12% in the Western Cape. What's interesting is the growth rates in these provinces. Gauteng is 19%, KZN is 18%, and the Western Cape is 23%. What can we infer from this? Well, that the large urban centers continue to receive economic migration, but the Western Cape is receiving more through forces like semigration. Data storytelling is about selective storytelling. Not all insights are worth presenting. Your goal is to highlight only the most impactful findings while using visualizations that enhance clarity. Identify the core message. What's the single most important takeaway your audience should remember? Use design elements intentionally. You can add annotations, highlight key data points, and use color strategically to direct attention. Minimize distractions. Remove unnecessary data points or features that don't serve the narrative. Now, how do we make this information digestible and compelling while observing the key steps? In data storytelling, design choices matter. Color, typography, and hierarchy all play a role in guiding your audience through the narrative. First, we choose the right type of visualization. Let's go to Adobe Express, where we can see that it offers a range of infographic templates that instantly transform data into engaging visuals. Let's select a design that works for population trends, something with a strong hierarchical structure and clear data points. For the purposes of this exercise, I've selected a suitable looking template. I start working on my visualization. As you can see, I can insert my data storytelling elements easily. I have my big picture exploratory data. I can easily rearrange the text boxes so they fit better on the page. I can insert pre-planned text to help tell my story. I can resize fonts. I can rearrange elements so they fit together to look more visually appealing. Then let's add the explanatory section, which, if you remember, is information that allows us to drill into the data and narrow it down to smaller insights. One thing to note about transitioning from exploratory to explanatory data is that you don't have to announce it in your visualization. It's more important for your planning to understand that your narrative is going from big to small and how each data point supports your story. As far as the population, we can see changes in its median age, which was 22 years in 1996 and 28 years in 2022. This means we can infer that increased life expectancy. People may be living longer due to improvements in healthcare, better living conditions, and advancements in medical technology. Now, you'll want an overarching thread to define your narrative. As far as a data-led narrative, we can say, South Africa's population is growing, moving, and living longer. With the rising median age and shifting demographics, the country's future is being shaped by economic opportunity and increased life expectancy. The result? A polished, professional-looking data story that turns numbers into insights. Whether you're a student presenting research, a business professional sharing analytics, or an educator designing learning materials, Adobe Express empowers you to communicate complex data with clarity and creativity. So, the next time you have numbers to present, don't just share data, tell a story, and let Adobe Express help you bring that story to life.